Hello Flosstube fam, it's the Dace Man here. I'd like to welcome all new and returning viewers. My name is Dace, my pronouns are he, they, and I'm here today with my December stitching update. So we're going to have a little look at what I've been up to over the past month. We're just going to get straight back into it as always. So here we go. We have got our first project of the month. As always, the wonderful Eeveelutions artwork by Alyssa Gerwig. We have already worked on this month a little bit, got 1,000 stitches into it yesterday, but by the end of last month I got to 86% on this, which was my end of year goal. I am really happy to say this went nice and smoothly. There's never really any issues with this project. It's nice and bulky, solid stitching. There's not usually a lot of confetti. If anything, there might have been a bit in here, but honestly, compared to a lot of projects, this one is an absolute dream. One of the easiest full coverages I think I will ever stitch. We are working on Umbrian right now. I'm currently doing 5 days of Umbrian over on Twitch, so I did a day of it yesterday. I'm going to be doing some more on Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully this month we'll get another 1.5% in, as always. It'll probably take us to about here, and we should be able to see most of Umbrian's face start to work up. So I'm really looking forward to this month's stitching. A lot of it's purple. I really enjoy purples. I think everyone enjoys purples. I'm really happy to see this coming slowly towards its end on the 25th of October 2025. That's this year. We're finishing this in the next 10 months or so. Alright. So watch this Eevee space, come and hang out with us on Twitch, see how this piece works up nice and quickly, and hopefully this will go according to plan without any hitches. That is that. Again, 86%. All my full coverages are stitched on 28 count 1/1, other than anything I mentioned. Otherwise, Meeting of Tangled Paths, our second project of the month. Every month I pull this out and I add 1.25% to it. This month I got it to 30%, which is the end of year goal. Again, a nice round number. Very, very happy with the progress. I've added a good half a page or so here. And next month I'm hoping the 1.25% will get pretty much all of this done. I honestly might just do this part page, and then if I do a little bit more this month, I'll do a little bit less next month to even it out. But this is artwork by Pui-Mun Law. She's a watercolor artist, and I always point out how much I really enjoyed looking at the watercolor working up on this project, because this is all background around here. There's no subject yet. There hasn't been subject for a page or two, and there's not going to be any subject for a little while. So I'm just enjoying watching the watercolor work up, and so far so good. We'll continue this year. My end of year goal for this project is to get it to 45%, so that's again 1.25% every month. We're going to continue on with that. It basically adds up that every 4 months I get 5%, so it should be a nice productive year on this. Obviously after this part page I'm going to be moving down into the next row of pages, and we're just gonna see what works up over the year. But yeah, so far so good. How about we have a little look at it? It's almost so far. Here we go. Isn't it nice? Yeah. Alright, our next project is another Pui-Mun Law, so another watercolor art piece. This one I've worked on most months this year. I started working on it again sometime through the year, and I've added 4% every month since I started working on it again. And we're now at 52%, which again is my end of year goal. I'm stitching this for my friend Sketch, so that's motivating me to get through it. This is actually 2/1 tent stitch. I do not enjoy tent stitch. I will not be doing it again, but we're 52% of the way in now. We're over halfway. It's only fair that we carry on and get this done so we can leave it behind and leave behind tent stitching at that. This month I worked in this area of the project, so There was a fair bit of like background, little confetti, but I found that every time I started a thread, it typically had a path where I could keep going with it, so it wasn't too picky. We are kind of slowly running out of background and so-called easy stitching to do on this project. We're going to be moving into quite a heavy bit of confetti when we get down here, but there's still a little bit to do in this bottom corner. I don't know where I'm going to work on this next month. I quite enjoyed working over here, but I think it's time to go back kind of to the middle. Maybe start working here, maybe finish this bird off. Yeah, I think I'll probably work somewhere around this area. Specifically, I'm not sure, but I might just end up doing a strip across here or something. But yeah, 52%, which was my end of year goal. My end of year goal this time is to finish it. So if I keep doing 4% every month, that's 48% over the year. That's to finish by the end of December. And like I said, then we can leave this behind, never look at it again. It's a gorgeous project. Like the picture's lovely, the artwork's lovely. I'm just not enjoying the tent stitch. But I'm committed. I'm going to get it done. And you know what? It looks quite good in person, to be fair. Like, I actually quite enjoy the way the colours have worked up. Yeah, I look forward to getting that done and out of the way. Definitely. So next we have our whip goes. We worked on Sarah Clark as normal for whip go. And the second whip go that was called was Polar Mandala. So again, I use whip go to choose what I work on Wednesdays on stream over on Twitch. And Polar Mandala came up as my whip go number, but it was also the project I focused on partly this month as part of our community craft along. So Sarah Clark, I'm going to show you, because I didn't just work on this for whip go either. I actually kept this out on the scroll frame in the living room, and I continued to work on it way beyond the whip go, and I've got some plans. So here's where I'm at. Here is Sarah Clark. She is looking pretty decent. I've got to say, I have not loved doing all this border. Not so much that I haven't loved doing it, it's just that I know that there's so much more of it to go, and I'm going to be so sick of stitching these little flowers by the end of this project. I can't even I don't want to think about doing that bottom band just yet. But yeah, we've got the alphabet band, some decorative bands, the tree band I got done. Oh my days, so many trees. There are 15 of them. They're all exactly the same. And I also got started on this satin stitch band. The satin stitch band on this project by Norfolk Samplers is charted to be 1/4. So it's not that nice thick satin stitch where you do 2 over and you get like the really shiny, well, satin layers of stitching. Instead you get a kind of almost barcode effect. I quite like it though. You can stitch it with 2 if you choose to, but I went with the 1 over because I do actually quite like how it looks. This is also stitched on a 40 count Silver Moon by Zweigart. So it's got a nice sort of luxurious feel to the background, if I can say that. I'm really enjoying the colour of this fabric for this project. I've also stitched this in Madeira threads instead of the called for DMC or otherwise in the chart. So some of the colours are a little bit different to the model stitch, but I quite like it. It's kind of hitting. I've actually met Norfolk Samplers in person, and they mentioned this project, and they also they were quite happy to see the modifications that I've made to the colours. I made it work in a way that everyone's happy, I think. The plan for this project is to keep it in the living room, keep it on the scroll frame, and keep working on it. I would really like this project finished by April, May. Yeah. I want this done by April, May. So I've really set myself a challenge there. We'll see how it goes. If I don't make it, I don't make it, but it would be really nice to have this project done. Like I said, I've met Norfolk Samplers, and I really want to finish this so I can show them that I've dedicated myself to it a little bit. So yeah, There we are, Sarah Clark, 1789 by Norfolk Samplers. We're gonna see how I get on with that over the next few months. Keep your eye out for it. Hold me accountable. Okay. Polar Mandala was the next whip go. And again, this was a project that I also used for our community craft along over on Twitch. Masked Bandit took the reins this month, and we had a craft along based on friendship. So I stitched on this project because a friend of mine was really gracious and gifted me the bead pack for it, which was a really generous, wonderful thing to do, and I wanted to honour that part of our friendship by working on this project this month. And I've got to say, between Whip Go and working on it for the craft along, I got a nice bit done. So last time you saw this, there were no beads. to nod to our friendship, I made sure I added some beads to the project, and I also finished this Arctic Fox picture panel. I didn't do this corner because there's a specialty stitch, and it's getting a bit difficult to put a hoop on this and not squish things and crunch beads. So this is a project that I will now be taking out of my stream in rotation. This is going to end up on the scroll frame. So this was the last time I'll probably stitch on it on stream for a while. If there are times where I can put a hoop on it and it's not going to interfere with any beads or specialty stitching, I will. So maybe when I get to the center part. But for now, this is kind of where we're at. I've also done another square on the top right corner. I've got that started, so I'm quite happy to have progressed to that. I didn't quite finish the little leafy bit here because, again, I couldn't really hoop it up, and I'm not a real big fan of stitching in hand, so that's gonna have to wait until I can get it on the scroll frame. But for now, I was really happy with this progress. To get this picture panel finished was a really nice milestone to reach. There's a lot of sparkle in here. I did the back stitch, made the foxes stand out. So this is a chatelaine design. I'm stitching it on a 28 count. I can't remember the name of the fabric, but it's from Pole Stitches, and I really like it. I know it's a little too blue. If you're looking at this going, ooh, it's a bit blue. Yeah, it is. I know. It's a bit blue, but we're living with it. We're just embracing the blue. We've got so many really nice beads on here. We've got big old cubey ones. We have big flowers that I stitched by adding a little bead on top so it doesn't have thread over the bead. Some bicones, and then lots of seed beads as well. Snowflakes. Some decoration over here. There's a couple of beads in this section too. It all adds some lovely sparkle. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. My end of year goal for this project is to finish the top right corner and the penguin picture panel. So I need to get Sarah Clark off that scroll frame. I need to get some beaded projects off that scroll frame. And then I need to work on this probably towards the end of the year. That's that for now. Full coverage Fridays. So every Friday I spin a whip wheel and it tells me what I'm going to work on this Friday. But for this year, I'm changing it up a little bit. I'm spinning that whip wheel 3 times and the community get to vote on which one they want to see. So it's partly up to nature and partly up to nurture from now on. So our first full coverage Friday for December was Book Dragon. And again, full coverage Friday, it's just a 5-hour stream, and we do other stuff as well. You know, we do the tiny stitches, we stop and do other things here and there. So it only gets about 3.5 hours of stitching for a full coverage Friday, really. So we don't get to add very much at all, but we add to it. And any progress, I must showgress. So here is where Book Dragon is at now. We're kind of coming towards half a page. So we went from 2.2% exactly to 2.53%. And yeah, it's kind of half a page if you go by a 80 by 100 page. It's all blue. Again, blue. I don't like blue very much. Why are all my projects blue? I don't mind working on this though. It's quite easy stitching, not a lot of confetti. And where there is a tiny bit of confetti, it adds these little sparkles into the background, little stars perhaps. So I quite like that. And when I actually get to the dragon, I think I'm going to quite like that as well, because the dragon is really cute. The artwork's by MJP, and it's charted by Pain-Free Crafts. And I did get the kit for this after the pattern was given to us for free in one of the Crystal Club Facebook groups. I'm no longer a part of the Crystal Club because I've got enough Pain-Free kits to last me a long time now. So I was happy to get the kit for this with my voucher at the time. And even though it was a frivolous start, there's no need for me to be stitching this right now really. I do quite like it when it pops up. It gives us something different to look at every now and then. So there we go. That's our book dragon. That was our first full coverage Friday this month. Our next full coverage Friday was, in fact, Memento Mori by Urban Stitches. Urban Stitches is such a sweet bean. Absolutely love having Urban Stitches around in the community and being part of Urban Stitches community as well. So when I get to work on this, it makes me really happy from a community perspective. From a stitching perspective, oh my god, what a nightmare. Full coverage black work. Do I recommend it? If you're brave. Urban Stitches has recently announced and released the Starry Night full coverage black work, and it has far fewer colours than this one does, which makes the pattern a lot easier to read. This has so many colours, the pattern is just a little tricky to read, and that's where a lot of the confusions come in for me as I work on this. But this month I pulled it out, I got all this skull in, and I also worked along this sort of blending edge here between the background and the skull, and some of those colours happen to pool up around the eye socket as well, so not bad progress for a little afternoon. Again, I'm always happy to work on this when it comes up. I've given it 2 slices on the whip wheel for full coverage Friday, and it's in my whip go, so it gets lots of opportunities to come up, but the whip wheel never seems to pick it. Apart from this one time where I was demonstrating the whip wheel and it landed on there, and then the community went, well, the whip wheel wants what the whip wheel wants, and I'm like, can't argue, fair enough, we'll work on it. So I honoured the whip wheel. So yeah, hopefully this will start coming up a bit more frequently, because it is something I'd like to move along. I don't have an end of year goal for it, but you know, if I could work on it at least a few times, that would be great. Like outside of whip go, I think we could probably start to see this skull working up. I'm not really sticking to the pages anymore. Like if the thread goes off, I'm continuing with it because I've got the full pattern. But yeah, I'd like to kind of work across this skull and get as much as I can do this year. But let's see, it's up to fate. Our last full coverage Friday for the month was a session on Epic Pokemon Gen 3, patterned by Lord Libidon. I'm actually stitching this on an 18 count Ada, and this is where we've got to. It went from 4.87% to 5.46%, so added a nice little section over here. So I worked a little bit in the background and got this next Deoxys pretty much done. I think I was missing a colour or two, which has kind of annoyed me. So I can't really do much about that, but I'm going to order all the rest of the missing colours soon. We also got to start on a little bit of Latios's head. It's a bit tricky to see, but that is something that got poked at a little bit when we had this out for Full Coverage Friday. I don't really have much to say about this one. I like it. It comes up every now and then. No end of year goals, just happy to see it when it's out. Can't wait to make sure I've got all the colours for it so I can fill in any gaps. And we will just see where it goes. But we're over 5%. Just 19 more of those to go and we'll have it. Okay. That is the full coverage Fridays. We now have the specialty long dogs, if you will. So we're going to start with the tiny stitches. We have Sansi. How did we get on this month? Well, we added some. We got this project from 72.28% to 75.75%. So we are now officially over the 3/4 mark. And I also added some tiny backstitch. It's so hard to see. It's so small. But yeah, I added some backstitch as well as... Oh, where did we work? I feel like we worked over here, but also over here, and then came and started working over here. So a few different areas, working sort of top down. I think the plan... Oh, there isn't a plan. I'm going to make up a plan on the spot. After this thread, I think I'm going to go into this here, where there's a little house. There'll be a bit more backstitch to do as well. Once I've done the house, I will probably move over here, put the initials in, maybe work on the deer that's here. That might be a good move. And we'll stop making plans there. We'll see how we feel after that. So yeah, the community's been stitching this 30 crosses at a time over on Twitch. Very grateful. Lots of people have been redeeming it, so it's been moving along really fast. Very happy with that. This will almost definitely be finished this year. There's less than 25% to go, and like I said, people are redeeming it at an unprecedented rate, so I think we will be putting a number 5 in this elephant's butt probably in the 3rd quarter of the year. We'll see. We'll see. The next special long dog is Indiscretion. This is the world's ugliest long dog, as I have dubbed it. And this one is stitched by the subscribers on Twitch. So anyone who subscribes to me on Twitch gets to choose any DMC colour. And as long as I have it, it can go in for 30 stitches. Gift subs will get 20 stitches of a random colour that's chosen by a DMC random number generator. And so far, this is the result. So we're just working on the right top corner motif. And I've got to say, the assignment for World's Ugliest Long Dog has been understood. People are choosing the most grotesque colours, the worst colour combinations. And it's creating a pseudo-aesthetic result that I can't really explain. I love looking at it, but it is horrendous at the same time. This has been a really fun concept. I really enjoyed working on this. And a huge thank you to the subscribers. You know, they pay actual money and they support what I do over on Twitch. And this is just a small way that I can give back a little bit. It's just, oh, I can't look at it. It's disgusting. That's on a mushroom even weave 28 count 2/2 as a state. Yeah. But thank you all very much for contributing. Our next project that I worked on is actually a modern folk embroidery, but it's still a little bit special because I'm working it in beads. So here is Move Forward in Love right now. I just happened to poke at it one night. It wasn't really in the plans. I just kind of fancied it, so I gave it a little poke. I think it was like the day before New Year's Eve, so it was right at the end of the month. I just decided to pick this up and do something to it. So this is on 28 count. I dyed it myself, proper bright pink, and I'm working it up in Delica beads. So I got this from 9.14% to 12.8%, and again, I've got some plans for this. Our monthly craft along this month is being hosted by Crow Stitcher, so please make sure you've checked them out and have a little look at all of their incredible whips. But they're also hosting the craft along, and they have chosen a theme for January, and they've chosen the theme of love. So I was sitting there going through my head like, what on earth could I stitch that I have that would like meet the theme? And I racked my brain and I couldn't think of anything, so I planned a whole new start. We'll talk about that next time. So I've ordered some fabric, some threads for a new start, and it was only when I pulled this out a few days ago where I went, oh yeah, this project probably counts. Yeah. So I'm gonna make an effort to get some work on this month, which is why I think it's a good job I pulled it out. Look at the way those beads shine. So most of the beads on here are silver lined, with a few exceptions. We've got some semi-matte grey ones, just shiny black ones, and ooh, I think the white one, no, the white ones are silver lined. Oh, the pink ones are a little bit more pearly as well. And I'm not loving the kind of palish pink for the bisexual flag, but we're just making do. I'm not buying another set of beads just to make the bisexual flag a little bit more saturated. We're just gonna have to accept the slightly pale bisexual flag, I think. But yeah, I really like this project. It's really nice to work on. I know a few people have been toying with the idea or getting started on their own beaded projects, so keep showing me those. Tag me on Instagram if you do one, and I would love to see that. So this is a pride project. There are lots of different nods to different flags, and so far so good. I can't stop looking at it. I need to put it away. Just put it away, stop looking at it, move on, because I have got 2 new starts. This was a frivolous new start that I did by accident on Boxing Day. I call it Bishy because in Norfolk, the old Norfolk word for ladybird is Bishy Barnaby. So I call this one my Bishy. It's another Pui-Mun Law, and it's a kind of thin project, not very wide, quite tall. And this is where I got to. I stitched on it for just a day, so it's not a huge amount. But this is like half of the width. So it's not a very big project width-wise at all. It's only about 75,000 stitches in total. I got this from 0% to 1.74%. So that little bit there is almost 2% of the entire project. So I think as long as this comes out every now and then, you'll see it grow. Not really much I can say about it. I think the actual artwork is called Insecta Ladybird. And yeah, I like it. It was gifted to me by a friend again, so it sort of worked with the friendship craft along as well. And yeah, I think I will enjoy seeing this one come to life, because it will be a relatively quick one. Not that I have any plans for it. I don't think I'm going to work on it particularly hard at any point. I don't know. But yes, that was one of my new starts. My other new start was my new year new start. So 1st of January, I always start a new project, as many stitchers do. And this year I started a full coverage called Snow Day by Bill Bell. It's not what I would usually stitch. It's not a piece of artwork that I would typically be attracted to, but I always really wanted to do a snow scene, not for me, but for my mum. I think she'd quite like it. And so this is a project that just, I kept seeing the picture and I was like, oh, I want it. So, so I got it. And this is my start. I only worked on it for a day. Again, I really don't like new starts on full coverages. Like, forgive me. I know I've started a lot of full coverages, but I hate the new start bit because there's nothing there. Look at my little bit of background corner, isn't it great? Like I'm not the biggest fan of a new start on full coverage. I like to see it when a bit more's worked up and some subjects have started to come into play, but you can't get into a project without first starting a project. So that's all I've got for you, I'm afraid. I can't really say much more. We're just living with it. And again, not a project I'm prioritizing. It'll be on the full coverage Friday whip wheel, and it'll work up as it works up for this year. But yeah, I think that's it for the actual stitching. For all of these full coverages that I keep starting, I promise you, this year, I plan to start a lot of things, and very few of them are full coverage. We're going to start seeing some more other things. So keep your eye out. I'm gonna start working on some other bits and pieces that aren't full coverage real soon, I promise. Our next section is the finish parade. So we're gonna have a little look at what the community has been up to over this past month. So my finish parade channel invites people to share a picture of their finished project with a few details about the project, and if they wish to, they can add a social media link that I will put below this video in the description box. So please do check out the people who add to the finish parade. We're all stitchers, we should all support each other, follows are free, etc. We're going to get started with Adiko Tigers by Anchor Cross Stitch. It was a kit, and Adiko made it for his nan for Christmas. Here we are. Look at that. Adiko was not enjoying this one. It was a bit of a pain in the backside, I think, but he progressed, he worked on it, he fought through it, and the result is 3 lovely tigers, and hopefully a very happy nan with a beautiful Christmas gift. We have got Mrs. Weedy and her random kit from a €1 shop. How cute is that? The little alpaca, it's adorable, very cute, nice little cactuses, little hearts. Oh, it's lovely. Proud to be on the wall. And Mrs. Weedy has got a YouTube channel, so I will link that below. Miss Nonanara worked on a Mill Hill kit using the provided materials. So Mill Hill kits are typically full cross with a little bit of beading, or a lot of beading in some cases. So I enjoyed watching this work up from behind a pillar, because as this was working up, this looked so much like an arachnid, and I couldn't unsee the arachnid until the wings were all done. So I watched this with through a squint, and it came out absolutely lovely. So there's a little B Mill Hill kit from Nolinara there. Adiko then went on to make some mittens. I really like the yarn that was used for these. Nice cool tones for the winter. But also a nice bit of bright green. I love to see it. Lovely little mittens handmade by May. So then Connie went ahead and finished an entire Nora Corbett reindeer. So it's Vixen from the Christmas Courier set, all called for linen threads. Look at that. There are beads, there is backstitch, oh, bicones, there are treasures, there's bright pink, bright green. It's absolutely stunning. What a lovely finish. What can you say? That is lovely. And a joy to watch work up as well. I enjoyed that project from a distance. So Chocobo has added an emotional support chicken. So this is a knitted chicken. Look at that. Do you or do you not feel more emotionally supported with this chicken? Just vaguely in your life? I do. He's so round. So the pattern is by Annette Corsino on Ravelry. And oh my goodness, it's just so cute. I love how round and dumpy it is. What a fantastic thing. Lovely. So we have Non and Ara here with Modern Folk Embroidery Evertote Roxy Flossco Holiday Countdown 2024. So this was like an advent project. Every day people got a new thread and a new bit of pattern, and they got to work it up over the month. Stitched on 36 count linen, and this is the result. We've got some nice, I want to say Dutch ladies perhaps. I know that Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery enjoys his sort of Dutch and Frisian and Scandinavian samplers, so I'm sure it was highly influenced by probably Dutch. I'm a member of the Sampler Guild. I should probably know a bit better. Yeah, we got some nice sort of Dutch ladies, some deer, got all sorts of floral motifs, some little birds, some nice patterns, and again some more sort of floral Dutch sort of motifs in all these different really wonderful colours, and the result I think is really nice. I've seen a lot of people stitch on that and I enjoy it every time. Chocobo then came in right at the end with a wonderful New Year finish, a Gothic Cathedral temperature stitch by Circle Cross. So this is a blackwork project and it was worked on a 14 count Ada, and most of it is in 310 with the window panes representing a month in temperature for where Chocobo lives. So we've got the winter months, sort of January, February, I guess March, I want to say April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. You can see where it got warm, where it got cold. Classic temperature stitch, but with a twist because it's black work. I've enjoyed watching Chocobo work this up over the year, and I'm really glad she managed to get her finish in. So thank you to everyone who contributed to the finish parade. I am always really grateful for those submissions. And for now, from me, what can I say? I think I'm gonna get a fair amount of stitching in this month, but this year I am finishing a lot of things. I've just put my annual stitching stats on Ko-fi for my members. That is a paid for membership, but if you enjoy numbers, if you donate a small amount or become a member, you can see those spreadsheets. So by all means, if you want to support me that way, I really appreciate it, and you get some numbers for it. I like numbers. But that's all from me, I think. Come hang out with us on Twitch if you would like. If you were stitching something while you were watching today, let me know what it was you were working on. But for now, thank you all very much for being here. I really appreciate all of your kind comments on the last video, and I can't wait to see you all again, either on Twitch or next month. Alright, thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you next time.